Greetings, Warden. Welcome once again to another development update. I'm Kamikaze, lead developer behind Solo Warden. In today's update, we're actually going to be showing off something pretty neat. This is the time dilation and the geosynchronous orbit. These features behind Solo Warden are related directly to the PDI section and how you'll be managing your fleets up in orbit in order to send them to different locations while not necessarily needing your mag drives to actually send them to different locations. But you'll be utilizing the time dilation feature. The time dilation feature is a pseudo little feature that we've created to speed up relative time in the PDI, allowing you to go faster than 1 second per second. As you can see up in the top left of my screen, we have a in-game clock, and as the game has started for us, we've started actually on the first day of the summer solstice, so June 21st, relative to UTC. So midnight according to UTC 0. But what you can see here is numerous amounts of buttons here where we have basically the pause button, where we can actually pause time if you so require to be able to order fleets around, or going back to 1 second per second, and even looking at speeding up time as well, as you can see with both the clouds moving relative to the planet as they're shifting and moving relative to their landscapes and everything that's around them. So all the Arctic air coming down, everything kind of moving around. We see, as time passes, clouds are forming in different locations. And then you can see also the night sky actually lighting up as well. We can even look at speeding up this time, so not even just 1 minute per second. We can actually speed up to like 1 hour per second. So in that way we can actually accelerate time quite a bit if, there's a lull going on in your campaign. We can even turn it up to a crazy time, such as 12 hours per second, if there's longer periods of time for research or base building that will be occurring in the game. However, with these time dilation features, we have restrictions on them. So with time dilation, we disallow the availability of moving fleets at 12 hours per second, since it does cause technical limitations within the engine. But we feel that 1 hour per second is more than enough to be able to move fleets, or even better yet, at 1 minute per second when you're actually looking to intercept any incoming enemies or incoming meteorites. You might be wondering now that I've changed around the time a bit, how do I actually make sure that my fleets are maintaining an orbit? Let's say around here you can see London and Paris. Maybe I would want my Delta fleet here to be located directly above those cities in order to protect them and maintain that orbit. Well, first of all, what I can do is set them up. A new button that we've enabled here is enable geosynchronous orbit. As soon as I toggle that, then these ships within the fleet that are selected here, they now actually follow whichever location that they have set up themselves as their waypoint or hold position. So same thing with what we wanted to do with actually doing the move commands as we did in the last development update. We can right click on an area that we actually want them to go, but now that we have a height command that we can determine them to fly to, we can say let's have them maintain a low Earth orbit. We can actually, after our first right click, we can move our mouse up and down to determine the height of where we want them to go. And with the time dilation, you'll see the fleet moving at basically their same rate, but at 1 minute per second rather than 1 second per second. And so you can see here, going back to 1 second per second, we can see them directly above, near around Paris. While the other fleets as well, you can see Alpha Squadron is still kind of maintaining their stationary orbit relative to the solar plane rather than the geocentric grid. So what does that mean for us, really? That means that we can change them if we want to. We can turn off Delta Fleet from geosynchronous orbit or maintain them, or even looking at doing Alpha Squad to maintain over top of New York, so we can have them fly in that direction. Also maintaining geosynchronous orbit, so let's speed them up to go into that location. So all of these tied in together, we can make sure to maintain, for instance, let's say a meteor's on a flat trajectory toward Earth. Maybe you don't want them to have a geosynchronous orbit, but maintain a position, let's say, toward the sun. We can actually line them up in that direction as well. And with all the markers that are actually displayed on the geocentric grid, we can actually turn on and off all of the different markers, of course, all the clouds and whatnot, so we can have a better picture of where we're actually setting up our fleet. But with all this said and done, we actually... Oh, there we are. We have a new meteor cluster that is detected coming in, and it looks like they are on their way toward the African plain. And so while we're zooming into this particular cluster, we can see that they're actually water-bound, but the cities down in the west coast African location will definitely take the brunt of the damage. So we will want to intercept this. So let's look at how we're actually going to be doing that. What we could look at is looking at Delta Fleet that's up here. Let's have them go in and intercept those meteors that are coming down. And a quick way to line that up is, since we do have a geocentric plane, we can see where the meteors are coming in toward. This particular positional marker is showing where they are relative to the actual geocentric orbit, and we can actually line up our fleet to fly directly to that location and line up where they're going to be coming in as well. Oh, I've also ordered Alpha Squad. I will change Alpha Squad to hold their position. I accidentally grabbed them instead of Delta. Now, with Delta on their way, you can see their direction that they're flying toward. We can actually speed up the time to have them come and try to intercept them. And as you can see here, we have the meteors that are actually going to be bypassing the height that I've kind of assumed that they would actually be coming into. So let's go ahead and change them up, and then that way we can make sure that they're intercepted. One thing to note too as well, as soon as they're within range and within range of combat, time will actually click over directly to 1 second per second, and that is a by design mechanic for Solar Warden. That's to make sure that we have all of your fleet that is actually lined up to engage your target, and you have to resolve combat by that time in order to make sure that, you know, nothing squirrely happens with the technical part of the engine. So as you can see here, I can actually take direct control of the fleets that are inside of combat here and help to resolve the combat a lot quicker in that regard. Or I can actually choose to leave combat and allow our AI pilots to engage directly, and then decide to move out of this. Let's say, for instance, I might have another meteor cluster that I need to contend with Alpha Squadron on the opposite side of the planet. And with that said, that's our geosynchronous and time dilation features. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. We hope to see you next time.